Today's ponderances are not about my cat. They're about that life on Earth is an experiment. It's experiment after experiment. Like, we're here to learn, to grow, to discover more about ourselves, about the world, and how can we do this unless we get in and just do it, like just dive into the experience of life and whatever that experience might be. So for me, how I've been exploring this lately is with this real consciousness of that there's nothing wrong with with myself stepping into a particular expression of self. Okay, so sometimes this expression might have been, imbalanced. I might have expressed something in an angry way or in an anxious way. There's all sorts of possibilities. I might have had some sort of an opinion, and opinions in themselves are dualistic. But I don't see any of that as wrong, because how else are we going to grow and learn and discover about what it is that's going on in our psychology if we just repress everything and just don't dare to express ourselves in any way? Like, we don't dare to fail. And even just using that word fail, that has a dualistic connotation too, because fail, succeed, But that's the world we live in, We live in a world that has these value judgments, and we're all very much subject to these value judgments. We're taught it, through the schooling system, through the parenting that we went through, that this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with boundaries, both personal and setting boundaries for children and for others. But what I'm saying is, how we're almost like taught to impose these really hard boundaries on ourselves. Like, I shouldn't get angry. I shouldn't experience turbulence. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't say the wrong thing. I shouldn't do something that upsets the status quo of, whatever group I'm interacting with. And, how are we going to learn about ourselves and our minds and these expressions? Like, how are we going to know what's behind that anger unless we allow it to sort of come out and we get to sort of see, then we have an opportunity to go behind the anger and to see, well, what was triggering me? Because, see, from my perspective, anger is something which, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that's telling us, something's dangerous, in my environment, that there's something or somebody who is threatening. Who are they threatening? That's for us to work out later on, you know what I mean? But to find our traumas, we need to follow these leads, like detectives. And so, we experience an expression of anger. Does that mean what we were sensing was incorrect? Not necessarily, but maybe we're expressing through the fear base, and so it's like this intricate puzzle that, we can only put it together by really just allowing ourselves the fullness of our expression, whatever it might be, so we can sit back and learn from it, learn about who we are, learn about, well, is this who I am? Is this what I really think? And, why did people react that way to what I said? And, there's so many questions, there's so many ways to sort of put it all together and to learn something about ourselves. And so, what I'm saying is, I think it's important to just go with the flow. And, if you feel like, yeah, I just want to say something, I just want to express something, and I'm just going through this experience right now where I'm just allowing myself to express what I want to express, however I want to express it. And it doesn't mean I'm not taking responsibility for myself. I think I've taken way too much responsibility for myself all this life, just trying to appease people and keep them happy by putting myself into this box that's been imposed on me. But now I'm just getting rid of that box and I'm just allowing the free flow of expression, and I'm not judging it. And as I do that for myself, I'm finding it a lot easier to accept other people's experiences, like no matter what it is, even if they're attacking me or something or projecting upon me, I just realize, okay, that's just their experience. And if I don't energetically sort of, create this connection, this attachment to what they're doing or what they're saying, if I just realize it's just them exploring their own consciousness, then if I don't respond to it or, don't react to it, then it leaves that other person to sit with, energetically, like, what they're creating, what they're experiencing, and then they can sit with it and learn from it themselves. It's not my responsibility, I'm not the one who's going to learn from it. It's the other person who will. So, it's just about, like learning where these energetic boundaries begin and where they end, and it sets us free to be ourselves and to grow and to become more. And it sets other people free as we see, like, oh, it's just so important for them to, to sit with, their consciousness and their state of mind and see it without having a layer of like, oh, Neptune has reacted to me or whatever, Neptune's angry and so there must be something wrong with Neptune. If you get no reaction from me, just, straight up forgiveness, love, like, I just let it be, then you can sit with, and all you've got is your own expression, and then you can learn from it without all of that distraction from Neptune or whoever it might be, So that will do today. Just my thoughts on life is an experiment, and we're here to sort of, try this, try that. How did Thomas and Edison, or whoever, Thomas and Edison, how did he, come up with electricity and everything, or the light bulb, or whatever it was that was invented? It was by trying this and trying that and trying, and getting it right, getting it wrong, adjusting and blah, 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 blah. Same thing with our own consciousness, like we just have to keep trying it on and trying it out and seeing how it goes and knowing that nothing is permanent, you know what I mean? Like, if we do overstep, the mark, and, I've done this where I've got angry with people, then you can just apologize. And if you can't apologize to the person personally, then you can do it energetically, like, da-da-da-da-da, please forgive me. And the energy still does the work, It's about just cutting us free and just, forgiving ourselves. Like, sure, we didn't do something that was perfect, but why does that matter? Like, just set yourself free. That was in the past. This is now. And in the now, I'm not that person I was in the past. So why hang on to it, So there it is. Life is one big experience, and we can experiment with ourselves and experiment with life as much as we want. It's not permanent. It can easily be erased, and we can move on, learn, grow, experiment, learn, grow, and on we go.